Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Stitching Over the Days podcast. My name is Constance and I want to thank any new viewers and also any returning viewers for taking a moment to hear all about my sewing, knitting, and crochet adventures. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as cleocmc, that's CLEOCMC. There's also a Ravelry group, Stitching Over the Days, and there is a blog with the show notes, yarningoverthedays.wordpress.com. So I don't think that this will be a very long podcast because I don't have many things. I have a few things to share with you, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm looking forward to sharing my recent finished projects, and then I'll move into my works in progress, and then I'll talk about what I'm wearing and give a little chatter about the Give Love Christmas Knit Along, which is currently happening, and then finally we'll end with just a bit of chatter. Well, okay, first let's start with the finished projects. In the last podcast, I was sharing my city shawl that was a work in progress, which is a design by Georgia Farrell from her My London collection. And the city shawl, it was a great knit to work up because overall it was not very hard, but you do have those, I think it was 4-stitch patterns within the pattern that kept things interesting, and it was pretty nice to switch it up. Like, I like that you would get into a rhythm of one pattern section, and then right when you're about to get tired of that pattern section, then it's time to move into the next pattern section. So I really like that. And trying to find an image for you. The city shawl comes in 2 colorways. And I decided to go with the colorway that had 2 tones. And then it also, here's another image. That's how it looks with 4 colors. But I also decided to go with my own colors. I stayed with the same tones because, as you saw in the first image of the city shawl, there was this deep blue with a lighter blue. So I went with the dark burgundy for my deep color, and then for the lighter color I went with hyacinth, and I'm really happy with those choices. So let me show it to you. This is the most substantial shawl I've ever made. Let me move my notes out of the way. And oh my goodness, I love it so much. So and it has that traditional shape of a shawl. So I hope that you get an idea of how large it is, but I love it so much. Now, this was my first time working with the Rowan Alpaca Classic, and I love that it's such a light and airy yarn. It's really nice and it's soft also. And I thought, like, when I first started working on that, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so soft. But what's very interesting is that I'm using the Rowan Alpaca Classic in the charcoal melange color for my niece's Christmas sweater, and I feel like that color is even softer than this these colors. But overall, it's really nice. It's light, it's so soft, and it's so cozy. And I love how large it is. I keep it near me because I love draping myself in it while I'm in the house when the nights get a bit cooler. And it also works as a nice lap gan if my legs are out and I want those to be a bit warmer also. The pattern itself was very clear, very concise. There was no room for confusion. And so I like that because I was able to just work straight through with it. And I picked this project back up after I was working quite a bit of just stockinette stitch for the blank sweater for my niece, and I was kind of getting tired of it, and I wanted to just switch it up with something that had more color and also a bit more pattern, and this answered the call. And then since I was working it up, I decided to finish it. Now, as you know, when you get to this section here, oh my goodness, I think you're going to be finished with like 500 something stitches, 500 plus stitches. It took forever. Oh my goodness. It just went on and on and on, but I was so determined to complete it because I really wanted a really large shawl, because the previous two shawls that I knit this year, they are really nice, but they're more so, they're a smaller dimension, which works really nicely for allowing for those shawls to be scarves also. And I wore this one as a scarf, but it does take a bit of like ruching it up to make it work as a as you can see, as a scarf. But I do like that because when it gets really cold, that means that's extra warmth around your neck. So it's safe to say that I love the city shawl. I'm super happy with it. I did not do a gauge swatch for this project. I just simply started knitting, because I don't do gauge swatches for accessories. I just don't, because I just don't think the fit is like that important. You want it to, of course, be a nice size, but it's not like really important for it to be like a perfect fit, and I'm super happy with the size. So that is it for the city shawl. I'm so happy with it, and Georgia does a great job of, the designer is Georgia Farrell, I think I said that, and she does a great job of describing the inspiration behind her designs. And she, I think in a recent Instagram post, she described the city shawl as, you know, when you look up in the city and you see the converging of all of the different buildings and the different architecture and the different designs coming together. Then she did that with this shawl. So those are those different stitch patterns, and I think she did a great job. And I was even reading like the inspiration in the front of the book for some of the designs, and then I found myself even like going to YouTube to find out more about different buildings, and that was like really nice, because of course you know about like the really popular spots and things like that in London, but it was nice because for example, the Barbican Estate, I never heard of that building, and so I started looking and searching for YouTube clips, and it was quite interesting. And I'm not big like into architecture and the terms, but they were talking about how that estate was from the like brutalist architecture, and it's very interesting. And then I even found some clips of the interior of the Barbican Estate, and so it's very interesting. And the Barbican Estate, I think that she used that for her Fan Street hat. So yeah, all of the designs are inspired by architecture, and it's really interesting, and I really love the project. Okay, so that is it for my city shawl. I'm happy to have that done. And now we'll move into, oh, I finished some socks. Now, I have, whenever I go home for the holidays, I tend to cast on socks. And most of the time they're stockinette or vanilla socks, something that I can work on mindlessly, or they're socks with a very easy stitch pattern. And so I remember casting these on at the end of last year, but of course when I came back home after the holidays, I picked up my more complex knitting, and I picked up my more complex knitting, and I started working on my Fair Isle cardigan, actually this cardigan here. And so kind of forgot about these, and these went on the back burner. But then I was looking in project bags, and I saw that I had one sock complete, and I had about like this much of the second sock complete. And I figured, why not go ahead and finish the socks, because I've been wearing my socks more and more than ever since I'm in the house, and I love wearing socks around the house. And so it's nice to have a new pair. And the yarn is opal yarn. It's their Claude Monet yarn, and it's inspired by his artwork, and I just think it's so beautiful. I kind of attempted to match the stripes, but I didn't do a good job. As you can see, they don't match exactly. Yeah, it's not a perfect match, but I still think it's really nice. And so that's the main yarn there, the Claude Monet opal yarn. And for the contrast yarn, this is the Quince & Company Finch, which I absolutely love for socks. And so I used the contrast yarn in the color lichen for the toes, the heels, and the cuff. And I previously made a pair of socks, the Dawn Landic socks, the lion socks, in that color, and so I decided to use the remaining yarn for the contrast. And when I was like on my sock kick, which I really get inspired to knit socks in December, I realized I was placed an order for I think about 4 or 5 skeins of different colors of the Quince & Company Finch, because I plan to make more socks out of the Quince & Company Finch, because oh my goodness, it's such a great yarn. And it was surprising is that it's actually 100% wool yarn. It doesn't have nylon like most sock yarns do, but it's so amazing and it's so durable, and it's really top notch. So yeah, since I have that yarn in my stash, then I think that I'm going to cast on some more Quince & Company Finch socks maybe in December again. But I'm super happy with these, and I'm happy that I now have shared them with you all so that I can get to wearing them. And of course, you know, I love the colorway. I chose this color. Actually, I didn't choose it. When I went to the yarn shop last year, then they helped me choose just some beautiful yarn, and she knows me so well, and so it has a lot of green in it and then the blue, and so that's why I went with it. And as I was saying, this is a vanilla sock recipe. I didn't follow a pattern, but I'll tell you what I did. So I cast on 56 stitches. I used a 2.5 millimeter needle, and I did the slip stitch heel and flap gusset type of heel. That's my favorite. And for the toe, I did a wedge toe, and I grafted the live stitches together in the end, and it was top down because that's just my preferred method. I've only done one pair of socks toe up. That was my first pair of socks, and it was all right, but I definitely prefer top down socks. So that is it for my socks, and I'm happy to have those. Okay, I have one more finished project to share with you, and then we'll move into the works in progress. So I completed yet another Butter It 5466. I made the size 8, and I made version B. I like making version B, especially because it doesn't require interfacing, and I think ever since the pandemic, interfacing has been super hard to come by. I've been able to get a bit, but it hasn't, like, I think even Joann's had a limitation on how much you can pick up. And it's when I went to the store in person a couple of months ago, and so it's really not easy to come by. So I've been really embracing patterns that don't require it. And so I made this Butter It 5466 out of this gorgeous Rifle Paper Company print, and this is their Juliet Rose print, and it's their canvas, and I purchased it from fabric.com, and I stayed true to the pattern. I didn't make any modifications, and I did finish my seams with my serger with the blue thread, and I'm just super happy with it. I've worn it quite a bit since I finished it. It just matches quite a few things. I just like wearing it with almost everything. Navy blue, pink, coral. It just works, and I think it's really lovely. I also want to say something about the Rifle Paper Company canvas fabric, and really their cotton fabric. One thing I realized is that it's really like wrinkle resistant. It feels like I could wear this skirt the entire day, and I'm like sitting and walking around, and you know how usually you would get creases where you sit like on the front of the skirt, and that doesn't happen with this fabric. And I realized that's the same for my dresses also. Like even when I take them out of the closet, I just take them off the hanger, and they don't have like, because you know how like sometimes even if it's on a hanger, if it's like bunched, it can have wrinkles in it. Then I don't really have to iron the fabric, so it's really great quality fabric. And the Juliet Rose is my favorite print. I think I said this when I made a blouse about a year ago in the Juliet Rose print. It's my favorite print from Rifle Paper Company, so much so that it's the as you can see, it's the case for my phone. So yeah, it matches perfectly. But yeah, it's such a beautiful, vibrant, vivid print that I just think pops. And I love wearing florals year round. And I love that this version had like the option of the navy blue darker background, because I feel like that allowed for it to transition into the colder months quite nicely, because I think that they also have a lighter background for the canvas, and then the blouse I made, which was made with the rayon fabric, it also had a choice of the lighter background or the darker background, and I went for the darker background for that top also. Alright, so that is it for the finished projects. As always, I will put the twirls and detail shots at the end of the podcast. And so I'm going to take a brief break, and then we'll move into the works in progress. Okay, so now we'll get into the works in progress. As you all know, well, I'm not sure if you know, but I am hosting a knit along. It's the Give Love Christmas knit along, and it's just a motivation for me and others to get those Christmas knits done and complete. And so I shared my plans in the previous podcast, which are pretty ambitious. I'm trying to finish 3 full-length sweaters for my nieces, and the pattern is here on the cover. It's a Kim Hargraves pattern, and it's called Blank. And let me get a better image of it for you. So that's the sweater there, and as you can see, it's I think it's the most substantial cardigan, not cardigan, but pullover that I've ever made. And it's a lot of stockinette. I did find myself like losing motivation because there was so much stockinette, and it kept going and going. But I'm still happy with the progress, and I was able to like take breaks in between and I was able to break up the constant consistency of the stockinette with other projects such as the city shawl, and I even cast on my tri-cable stitch jumper. But I'm still happy with the progress that I made. So I've completed this is the front, yes, and it's the front because it has a little shaping around the neck. And then I also completed the back, and as you can see, it's pretty much the same. The only thing is that there's not much shaping for the back. And I completed a sleeve. And there's the sleeve. The sleeves went by super quickly, like rapidly. I finished this sleeve in a couple of days, so I think that I'll finish. And that wasn't even me working consistently on it. And so I feel like I can knock out that second sleeve really quickly also. So as you can see, I have the majority of the first sweater complete, and I hope to have it all done, the first sweater done this weekend. So that's what I would like to do. And then I'm going to immediately cast on the second sweater, which is in a gray melange color. This is the charcoal melange. And then I'm going to immediately cast on the second sweater. And the second sweater I'm going to modify to just have a crew neck instead of the high neck. So I'm super happy with the progress on that, and my goal was to complete it before October, the end of October. And so I think the last day of October is on Saturday, so I may finish it Saturday or maybe Sunday, but I'm hoping to get it done before the start of the next week. And is there anything else I need to say about that? No, there's not anything else. I mean, the pattern, of course, is straightforward. It's very, very easy. And I will say that even though I was getting uninspired by the gray and all of the stockinette, it was the perfect project for like watching television and movies. And so I've been binging a lot of mystery shows and whatnot just to make the time just go by. And it has worked. Oh, I have another work in progress. I mentioned this in the previous podcast. I really wanted to cast it on. Someone suggested that I cast it on Boxing Day, And I'm not from the UK, but I watch a lot of British shows. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. But I was like, I cannot wait that long. And I really wanted to cast it on. So I was sent this beautiful yarn from Pearl Soho. This is their linen quill yarn. And I chose this rhubarb pink color. So pretty. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. I feel like that linen gives it like a tweedy look, which I love because I love tweed yarns. And so I haven't made much progress on it. Well, let me show you what pattern this is. So this is from Susan Crawford's A Stitch in Time, Volume 2. And so I just love that bow around the collar. I think it's so adorable. So I've been working on the bottom ribbing. So this is all I have done. And so I have to do 3 inches of it, and I'm halfway there. So I'm hoping to complete the bottom ribbing, maybe get a little bit of a head start on it tonight before I get back on the blank sweater, because I need to finish that blank sweater. But I'm so happy with it, and I think that maybe if I continue to space it out, working on it in between the blank sweaters, then maybe I'll finish it by December. That would be really, really nice. I'm not sure if I still have high hopes of completing a blank sweater for myself, because I think that by the time I get to complete the 3rd version of that sweater, I may be just done with that pattern. I mean, it's one thing to repeat a pattern, but to repeat it 3 times, maybe even 4, and then it's such a pattern that takes so much time with a lot of stockinette. I'm not sure if I'm going to still be inspired to make my green blank sweater, but who knows? We'll see. So that's going along wonderfully. I did do a swatch. I shared it on my Instagram. I, of course, forgot to bring it here. Hold on a second. Okay, so here's the swatch. Can you see? It's kind of blown out. Wait, yeah. Okay, I think you can see the cables a bit more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's the swatch there, and as you can see, there it is. You can kind of see the cables there. It's not so blown out, but it's beautiful. And I completed my swatch just as I plan to finish the garment, which I gave it a soak for 15 minutes in the soak wash, and I was able to get gauge. I first tried to immediately go down a needle size like I always do, because I typically have to. However, I found that I had to go back up, and so I'm using the recommended needles, because I had to use the recommended needles to get gauge. But it's really, really beautiful. I like that vivid color so much. And let me get to my nose. Okay. So that's it for my works in progress. Then I wanted to share with you what I'm wearing today, which is the Monteach cardigan designed by Alice Star Moore, which I absolutely love. I made it earlier this year in January, and I paired it with my Simplicity 2444 dress. And this is in a corduroy that I purchased from Joann's in this tan color. But I think it's absolutely beautiful. I discussed it quite in detail when I finished it in the February podcast, and I discussed like the sizing issues that I had with it. And so like ideally, while I absolutely love it, I would love for it to have a bit more positive ease, like just a bit more, and that was like an error on my part. And so I do have plans to make the other version of this sweater when it's back in stock, and it's like a different colorway. It's the Meadow Sweet cardigan, and so I do have plans to make that, and so it'll be good for me to adjust the fit, because I do want it to be a bit more roomy. But other than that, I'm super happy with it. I really like it, and I'm happy that I'm able to wear it now, as we're getting deeper and deeper into fall. Okay, I wanted to chat a little bit about the Give Love Christmas knit along. we've been having fun chatting in the thread on the Ravelry group, and I've also been seeing quite a few things. I've been following the hashtag, the Give Love Christmas, KAL hashtag on Instagram, so I've been seeing a lot of things popping up, and oh my goodness, it's like so inspiring seeing the things that people are creating. And I was like, oh my goodness, so many people are going to receive so many wonderful gifts. They're all just gorgeous. One was so epic. It was like this Fair Owl garment, and I was like, oh my goodness, the recipient of that is going to be so happy. And so I've been inspired, and it's been inspiring me to keep going and to get my projects complete. So this knit along is going on until the end of until Christmas Day. Is it Christmas Day? Yes, and I think I'm going to close the finished objects thread. I have the details on my Ravelry group, but I think that I was going to close it on Christmas Day, like at 11:59 on Christmas Eve actually. And so for this knit along, you can enter toys, garments, socks, whatever, as long as it's a gift to someone. And you can have multiple entries, and there will be multiple gifts for those who complete their projects and post it in the finished object thread. Or if you are on Instagram and you're not on Ravelry, just tag me, and then I'm gonna pull from, and even if you don't tag me, I've been following a hashtag, and I'm just gonna do a random number from that hashtag, and we'll have winners from the Instagram pool also. And I think that's all I have to say on the Give Love Christmas knit along, and I hope you all are staying motivated and getting those Christmas gifts out of the way. I can't believe that we're pretty much, October is almost over, and we're going to be in November next week. So that's just like, wow. And so yeah, we have 2 months, not even that, but about 2 months before Christmas. I also have a bit of chatter. I wanted to put a YouTube channel on your radar. So as you all know, one of my favorite designers is Lily Kate France, and I've made quite a few of her designs. Well, Lily Kate now has a YouTube channel, which is amazing, and so she has already posted quite a few videos on tutorials and techniques, and I like that a lot of the videos that she's posted are techniques that are used in her patterns. So I just think that if you're wanting to whip up one of her patterns, that would be great to refer to her videos on her YouTube channel, because she has very clear, beautiful tutorials. And so that channel is Lily Kate Makes. If you wanted to go and subscribe, I think that it'll be great. Oh goodness, so they're doing some work out there. And I'm going to pause for just a second, and then I'll come right back. Okay, I'm back. And finally, I wanted to end the podcast with just some thoughts on the recent announcement from Fruity Knitting, as I'm sure that most of the knitting community is aware of at this point, but I'm still going to put a link below this video linking you directly to their announcement video, and also ways that you can contribute and help them during this very difficult moment and time in their lives. If you've been with me for a while, then you know how much I've been inspired by Andrew and Andrea of Fruity Knitting. I've been on the show twice, and even recently Andrew chose me as an alternate co-host. I'm sorry about the noise, but I just wanted to say that I absolutely love them. I never met them in person, but you know how you feel like you know someone. So I think that is why the news hit me so hard, and I just love them so much. So I'm sending them all of my love, hope, and prayer during this time, to Andrew, Andrea, Madeline, and Jack. And so I'm just really hoping for the best. And so I will put all of that information below this video so you can go to it directly. And if you can, and if you are able, contribute. They've done so much for the knitting community. They're so inspiring, and I can't even begin to express in words how much I appreciate them and I love them. And so I just want to be there for them as much as I can during this time, and I hope that you can also during this time. It's been a tough year, and there's been so much loss and heartache and pain, but I'm trusting that we'll all get through it. Okay, my phone is ringing. There's so much noise going on, but I'm taking that as a cue to end the podcast here, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.